Good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday to all. This is Carla T. Um, this is this week's weekly chat with Carla. I wanted to go over with you all today. I'm going to be talking about a documentary that I actually watched this past Friday that was very inspirational and motivational for me. Very important and a very moving documentary. I actually put it out there on my Facebook for my Friday's feature. So if you actually want to go back over on my Facebook, and like I said, I posted it on Friday, and look at the trailer. But I definitely encourage you, if you're um, looking or even wondering in regards to your personal life or even your business, that you actually feel like you're stumped, maybe stalled, or just kind of standing still and really not for sure actually what's going on. Um, I think that movie would definitely give you some inspiration as well as motivation, and empower you to um, maybe have one of those, ah, I got it. I see what I've been missing, or I don't know. It's just you just actually have to watch it. But like I said, you can go over to my Facebook. And it's my Friday's feature. You can actually check it out, and I encourage you, if you can, to just watch the whole movie. And it's actually over on Netflix. It's called The Black Godfather. Anyways, what I'm going to be going over today is going to be the 5 tips for making an impact, because that's actually what that documentary was about. Clarence Avant, a gentleman who's actually still with us today, I believe. I'm not for sure, probably definitely maybe in his 80s, but he's actually still with us today. But how he made such an impact on so many different people's lives, and still is to this day. So it was very moving for me as well. And like I said, it was one of those moments, Sometimes we actually just need those moments to kind of feel like, and in other words, and could be doing it or even actually not doing it enough, or just reevaluating your own personal life as well as your business. But anyway, this week's chat with Carla is going to be, I took a quote from what he said, and that moved me as well. Each one teach one. Like I said, and it's 5 tips for making an impact. Okay, the first one is being original, meaning be yourself. No one else can be you. In other words, we all are very unique and bring our own special gift to the world that people actually needs to hear and actually see us. So be you. No one can be you. And you're very special, because I know a lot of people in the world probably struggle with that, low self-esteem, low self-confidence. But just know that you are enough, and that we actually need to hear your voice and see you as well. And you do have something to offer to the world that no one else has. And I mean nobody. Okay, so make sure you're doing that. Just be original, be you. You are enough. Okay. The second one, be unapologetic. That's something else that I loved about this gentleman. He's not apologizing for who he is. If you do watch the documentary, in other words, it might step on some people's toes. But once again, he was unapologetic about that. In other words, I am who I am. Okay, and that's true for all of us. We are who we are. We all have room for improvement, of course, but the bottom line is you are who you are. In other words, if you are not comfortable with others being their selves, sometimes we have to just get in the mirror, like I said, and maybe even reevaluate ourselves. Because when I watched it, in other words, for me personally, him just being him didn't offend me. I'll put it in those terms. Whereas some people might say the way he communicates might offend them. But actually for me, it didn't, because I really felt it just watching the documentary in my heart. That's who he is, and like you said, and he is who he is. And then you also have to keep in mind that's this time, and it tells it in the documentary this time that this gentleman was actually born, the time he was born. So it was during some very, very tough times for minorities, for blacks, okay, for ourselves. So just like I said, just keep that in mind. But like I said, be unapologetic about who you are. In other words, you don't feel like you need to be apologizing to anyone about who you are, okay? Don't hide from being what makes you so unique. In other words, don't hide from that. Three, the next one, what I would say is embrace others. Love others for who they are and what they bring to the world, okay? This includes all different walks of life. And once again, if we're all unique, no matter what different walks of life that we come from, no matter what race, no matter what gender, the bottom line is we still are all so unique. That's what makes us so unique, and we bring different gifts to the world. So just remember that. And like you said, embrace others, okay, for who they are. In other words, it's about their heart. It's not about the color of their skin. It's not about if they're male or female, in other words, or what country they come from. The bottom line is it's about their heart. The next one is going to be educate others. In other words, is we all have the opportunity every day, not only with our close ones, not only with our loved ones or our family, but to be able to pass something along that's something that somebody else doesn't know, to educate others. So take the time when those opportunities presents themselves to do that. We all have different gifts and knowledge of our areas of expertise that we can share with others to help them become the best versions of themselves. That's something else that really touched my heart about this gentleman, and I was in awe and was actually amazed because he touched so many lives and he still is. And it's a part in there where the son was speaking and was saying that a lot of people have, he's heard a lot of people say, well, when this gentleman dies, who am I going to go to? And the son said, because I was actually, it just brought me to tears, was just crying with him. And he was like, well, who am I going to go to? Because this gentleman is his father. So that was, like I said, very moving to me, because the bottom line is a lot of us, believe it or not, don't have that. So once again, that's just a blessing within ourselves, or a blessing within itself, when you actually have that go-to person. This gentleman, if he heard about somebody, he would just pick up the phone and call him. He didn't have to even know him, and he was like, what can I do for you? If you need some help, what can I do to help you succeed in whatever they were doing? It doesn't have to be in even his area of expertise, but if he was knowledgeable about any area, he would actually just reach out. And I thought that was very, very moving for me, because a lot of people are guilty of that. In other words, that, and even in the time when this gentleman was born, to where they actually prevented minorities from even getting educated. That's something that was unheard of. That it was like not allowed for you to even learn or get taught or get educated on anything. But this gentleman was always that way. And it didn't matter if you was black, white, purple, green, whatever. My point is, he touched many lives. And when he picked up the phone and reached out to you, it didn't matter what color you was. It was a matter of, can I help you? And then, of course, when the word spread about this gentleman, he started just getting phone calls from all over, from different walks of life, and people saying, hey, can you help me? And he did it from out of his heart, and he wasn't charging people. I know we all actually have to make a living, but the bottom line is it was free of charge. And you'll see that in the documentary as well, when a lot of the people that he did help said, did he charge you? And it was like, no. He's like, he didn't. And they would say, no, he didn't charge me either. So in other words, he was given freely. Okay, passing on his knowledge, his expertise, or anything that he can help. He wasn't charging anyone. It was free of charge. And I think about the world that we're actually in today. And of course, like I said, we all need to make a living. But at the same time, are you actually giving freely? I mean, are you really giving from your heart? Are you giving in order to receive something in return? Like you heard that tit for a tat. Are you actually giving from your heart? And it's so important, because even with myself being a business owner, I find myself I have a wonderful team that I'm actually a part of. Um, but even though it's my own business, I have a wonderful team that I can actually go to. But even myself in the past, the area I've been in about 5 years now, network marketing, I didn't always feel that way. In other words, that you could just pick up the phone or you can just text somebody and reach out to them. I didn't always have that. And I will tell you, that's a very, very lonely road. And it can get very, very overwhelming. Frustrating in time, and sometimes just makes you feel like I want to say, okay, I'm done and give up. But you don't. You keep pushing through. But this is what this man stood for. And like I said, people didn't even know him, and his name was being dropped, and people were calling out and said, hey, can I speak to so and so? Is this so and so? And he helped them. And I'm talking about, like I said, at no charge. Once again, I'm not saying to go around and, like I said, not make a living, because we all got to make a living. But I remember the documentary, if you watch it as well, it's like he said, I have no worries, I have friends. And that's what it's all about. Uh, Helping each other, uplifting each other. That's priceless. And then I just don't see a lot of him in the world today. I don't. What he represents, you don't see a lot of those individuals walking around in the world. And just personally, I want to be, in other words, that man to me is somebody I look up to, like a mentor. And like I said, I just recently watched it, this documentary, but it meant so much to me. And as far as like giving or just talking, that's something I've actually always done and never looked for anything in return. But he, for me, put a whole different meaning of for the word exemplary, or knowing your purpose. In other words, it was clear, and once again, he was unapologetic about it, and how he helped people, how he communicated. The bottom line is, and I don't remember watching a documentary where he actually hurt anyone. He actually helped. In other words, he made an impact on every life that he spoke to, he touched or was involved in. Okay, and I don't remember anyone saying anything negative about him, but the only thing I could think of, maybe someone, maybe you, for me, I would use the word to term blunt. But once again, that's who that man is. He's very, very bold, a very outspoken person, but I took it as that man knows his purpose, hands down, and no one could tell him otherwise, and he wasn't going to allow no one to stop him for being who he is. And it's just real important. Um, the last tip I want to go over with you all today is love and accept you and love yourself. A lot of us don't. I think we hide behind, whether it's, I say it as well as Facebook, whether it's text messages, or if we don't look a certain way, if our bodies don't look a certain way, if we don't talk a certain way, that we feel like that we don't love ourselves, like we have to look a certain way, we have to be a certain color, we have to dress a certain way, we have to have a certain amount of money in the bank or in our pockets before we love ourselves. And I'm just simply here to tell you, and it's an awesome documentary that you need to watch, like I said, it's on Netflix. And that's what that man stood for. That none of that meant anything to him. Like you said, once again, he said, I have no worries, I have friends. And to be honest, how many of us can actually say truly, if I asked you right now, how many true friends you have? Now, I'm not talking about business associates, or associates, or people you socialize with, or family members. I'm talking about a true friend. How many of us can even actually say that we have one? It's something my mother taught me when I was at a very young age. She said it would be a blessing if you actually live in this world and actually have one true friend. And that's what that man said. And he didn't have one; he had several. He touched many lives. And like he said, I have no worries. I have friends. So he knew in his heart that he was giving from his heart. So once you give from your heart, when you receive, it comes tenfold. You can't even imagine, or even if you're going through it. But how many of us can even say, if we go through anything in life, whether it's personal or whether our business, that we can actually just pick up the phone and call someone? A lot of us can't say that, and it's so important. So, and I want to also say, though, make sure, like I said, that you're loving yourself. Once again, it's important. Don't feel like that I gotta look a certain way, I need to be a certain color, I need to weigh a certain amount, I need to dress a certain way, I need to speak a certain way, otherwise people won't accept me. You have to accept you. I've always said that about myself. I love me. No one's going to love me like I love me. And whether you won't believe that or not, it's simply just not true. And that's where my concern comes in for anyone. If you're actually not taking the time out and not truly loving you, I'm here to tell you today, you are worth it. I love you and don't even know you, okay? But I love you for who you are, for your uniqueness, for what you bring to this world. You are your actually own light, and you do bring a light to the world, whether people are telling you otherwise or not. Because a lot of times, if you get people telling you otherwise, you really need to sit back and maybe observe and maybe find, how you say, your new fabulous five, as they say, the people that you surround yourself with. Because if someone is actually knocking you down or bringing you down or not uplifting you, that's not who you need to be around. As they say, move around. You need to get away from that person. That's not who you want to be around. And actually, those people has what they call some personal issues within themselves. And I can pretty much say probably they don't love themselves, because if you really truly love yourself and you know about love, you're going to be able to love others, and you're not going to be harming others in any kind of way. No form or fashion, no kind of way. You're just not, because you know about love. In other words, you will treat others the way you treat yourself. And if you really truly love yourself and you're not going to harm yourself, you're definitely not going to do that to others, because that would just break your heart. You're not going to do that. In other words, your heart will convict you. It's not going to allow you to. Last thing I want to go over leave this note with you all today. I do want to take the time out to say something that I did take away from it as well. Not only those tips, was the gentleman kept saying through that documentary, it's all about numbers. And I, like I said, have been in network marketing for about 5 years now. And it's something I definitely had to learn the hard way. And if you talk to any entrepreneur, they will actually tell you, once again, it's about the numbers. And it's another part that's very, very important. I believe you should watch the documentary, where two friends was talking, and one was saying, when he was saying it's about numbers, about the money, the other was like, well, I beg to differ in so many words. It's about people and how many lives that he is touching and impacting. And that's the way I took it. But once again, to each his own. Everybody's different. It depends on what it means to you. But I guess because for me, that's what it is. If you touch one life, if you can make a difference in one person, then you served your purpose, whether you believe it or not. In other words, this is what this man does on a daily basis and has been doing since he was born. And once again, I think it's something that we all should be doing, and we should be doing it from our heart. So do I agree with him? It's all about the numbers. Yes, it is. Like you said, not just in your personal life, and definitely as far as in if you're an entrepreneur in your business. Because in other words, if you're out speaking with someone, or if you're actually talking to 0 people, well, you're not touching nobody's life or one person. But just think how many lives that you can actually touch and increase if you're talking to 10 to 15, 20, 30 people a day. Now, when I say, that whoever you speak with, that they would implement it or do something, once again, all you can do is educate, inspire, empower, and motivate someone. But it's actually going to be up to them. It's left on them. You have served your purpose by educating or speaking with them, okay? Trying to uplift somebody, motivate somebody, empower somebody, okay, to help someone. Once you give that knowledge, that quote, that video, that post, it's actually up to that individual if they're going to apply it to their life. You have nothing to do with that, and you should never feel guilty about that. You should only feel guilty if you're actually not touching lives. Once again, it's about those numbers. If you're not talking to anyone, and I'm talking about, once again, from your heart. Okay, it should be something daily that we should be doing. And once again, it's important, and I will reiterate this, that it doesn't matter the race. It doesn't matter the color. When I say touch people's lives, I'm talking about all different walks of life. Okay? And just remember that. Okay? I've been on here for a while, so I'm going to get actually off here today. I can be a rambler and can go on and on, especially when something is dear to my heart. And like I said, that documentary moved me. And once again, it's on my Facebook if you want to watch the trailer, but it is on Netflix, called The Godfather, a documentary about Clarence Avant is his name. And like I said, it's something that you can enjoy. Will definitely make you reevaluate your life and think about it. It's a must-see documentary. I believe it served definitely a purpose in my life, and made me even kind of ignite my flame, my fire again, And once again, as far as another term they use for him being fearless. In other words, it's not being afraid of what people are going to say or what they think about you. Once again, you don't control that. And what I'm saying is when you're touching people's life in a positive way, not in a negative way. That man was representing when he picked up the phone and say, this is so and so, do you need some help? How can I help you? That's what he was doing. He was changing lives, impacting lives, and that's what we all should be doing. And the bottom line, the world overall would be a better place. Okay, and that's a note I wanted to leave you all today. Like I said, just remember what he said, each one teach one. And that's what I actually took from that documentary. Each one of us, whatever you know, teach someone else. Touch someone else's life. Educate them. Pass on the knowledge. Another quote that I remember years ago. I'm not going to stay on here because I don't want to get too emotional. A young lady I actually went to school with, her son, he's no longer with us. We lost him at a young age. And that's why you see probably in a lot of my posts that it says, the baby used to say, sharing is caring. And it touched me when I was a young lady. And it meant the world to me. It made me look at life differently because that baby went through a lot of surgeries. And I can remember this baby was like 5 years old. And I said, how is something so innocent can feel that way and say that sharing is a caring? And a lot of us are grown and don't even, think that way. Or even about each other. I'm talking about simply, once again, it doesn't matter what race. It's like I said, we all come from different walks of life. But the bottom line is, we all are human. Okay, we all are human. You take a knife and cut me, I bleed red. You take somebody that's a different race from me, you cut them, the color of their blood is going to be the same as mine. They're going to bleed red. It's going to be red. Okay? But I'm going to get off of here. Everybody have a blessed Sunday, and thank you for joining me. And I hope this week's chat was of some value to you, as it was to me. Very, very important and moving. Like I said, a weekly chat this week for me, because like I said, of what that documentary, what that man touched my heart on Friday night. So I wanted to share with that and pass it along. I want to pass on the love. And then, like I said, it just let you all know it's so important. So if you get an opportunity, it's a must-see documentary. And like I said, it's on Netflix. If you know anyone that can benefit from this week's chat, please feel free to share. Remember, sharing is caring. If you're curious about who Carla is, if you're new, you don't know me, or if you've even been following me for a couple months or a couple years, feel free to reach out. How you say, I want to be like that gentleman. You know, in other words, if there's anything, or any way that I can actually help you, feel free to reach out to me. I'm actually on social media, social platforms. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram. You can reach out, as well as I've always put my number as well as my email. So feel free to reach out. And once again, thank you for joining me with and watching the replay of this week's chat. And remember, each one teach one. Okay. You all have a blessed Sunday, and I'll be talking to you all soon. Bye.